Attack on America. A declaration of war. President Bush vows revenge in a broad, sustained attack.
We will find those who did it. We will smoke them out of their holes. We're at war.
Also, NBC's Terrorism Task Force. New details as terrorists are named and arrests are made. And at Ground Zero and elsewhere, the searching and mourning continues.
Attack on America. This is a special edition of NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening on this Saturday. President Bush tonight, from a presidential mountaintop retreat in Maryland, warned the world that war is coming, and he warned America that it will require patience as well as resolve. The president was speaking at Camp David, where he assembled his top advisors to organize the military and diplomatic battlefields. Meanwhile, at the Pentagon today, the first shots from inside of the devastating damage, much greater than military officials first estimated. It may cost upwards of $1 billion to repair. And to give you an idea of the amount of damage here in New York, this is satellite imagery of the World Trade Center area before the attack, looking down on it. This is the area after. The remains of two of the highest buildings in the world and surrounding structures as well. But the big story is what now? And NBC White House correspondent David Gregory begins our coverage tonight with President Bush as Commander-in-Chief. David?
Tom, using his strongest language yet today, the president called the assault on New York, quote, the first battle of war. His top advisors now say the president is determined to educate the public about the nature of this conflict and to counsel patience, even as the country wants revenge. One official saying tonight the president will only act when the time is right. Meeting with his national security team at Camp David today, the president sternly declared that the country is at war, and for the first time called Osama bin Laden the prime suspect behind this week's attacks. Fresh from personally inspecting the damage in New York, Mr. Bush threatened that the Saudi-born terrorist and those who help him have nowhere to hide.
They run to the hills. They find holes to get in. And we will do whatever it takes to smoke them out and get them running, and we'll get them.
Mr. Bush is walking a fine line with his stepped-up rhetoric, trying to isolate bin Laden and those countries like Afghanistan that harbor him without antagonizing other Arab nations whose cooperation the administration is trying to secure. The risk for the president is that other Islamic nations may feel he's declaring war on them, too. Also today, in his weekly radio address, Mr. Bush attempted to prepare the country for the sacrifice and danger ahead, saying the government is planning, quote, a series of decisive actions against terrorist organizations.
You will be asked for your patience, for the conflict will not be short. You will be asked for resolve, for the conflict will not be easy. You will be asked for your strength, because the course to victory may be long.
And grimly, the president cautioned that life in America has changed.
I would think the American people need to be go about their business on Monday, but with a heightened sense of awareness that that a group of barbarians have declared war on the American people.
Mr. Bush said the terror of this week, quote, will not stand. That is the very same thing his father said before the Persian Gulf War. And this weekend, the second President Bush, surrounded by three of his father's top advisors, has also now become a wartime leader. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's David Gregory tonight, covering President Bush, who's at Camp David.